Hi, welcome back to System Foundations. Today we're going to set up TaskFreak inside of our DNS server so that you can resolve the TaskFreak application without an IP address, but by name. So there are a couple of changes we need to make. First of all, let's pop over and look at the systems we have to have running. We have to have CYB DNS01 running because that's our DNS server. And next we have to have the TaskFreak server, which is CYB Web02 running because that's what we're going to try to access. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. First thing is open up a terminal. Now this can be, of course, in your virtual machine, or you can use PuTTY. Now we don't go through how to use PuTTY in here. If you want to find out how to use PuTTY, then just download it and start it up, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It says, hey, where are you trying to go? You type the IP address, you press enter, and you're there. So let's go ahead and use the terminal. This is in Mac and Linux. So if you're using either one of those, just open up your terminal. First thing we'll do is SSH. We're going to do root at 192.168.56.11. And it should pop us right in. Now remember, I've shared my keys, so I'm able to pop into these automatically without typing the password. If you have not shared your keys, you will need to do and type the password. Or you can do it SSH-copy ID, and you can copy the ID over to the system. All right, now that we're in DNS system, let's go ahead and cd to var named master. Now once we're in var named master, we're going to see what's in that directory. So we changed rooms, as it were, inside of a system. We've changed our context. That's directory context. Let's look at it. LL, kind of like turning on the light, right? Now we can see. So we look at this. We have service restart and zone.lab.lan. All right, let's go ahead and vi zone.lab.lan. In here, you would normally have to increment the serial number every time you change DNS. But because our DNS is entirely internal, we don't even have to mess with the serial number. So that's a nice thing. Now moving on down, we've got this task setting, and we see that task right there is set up for 51. Well, that's not good. So we're going to set that up 52. And www2, we're going to remove altogether. And task, instead of just task, we're going to call it TaskFreak. So TaskFreak, just like that. Now system names, we are missing a couple of names here. We will be adding some names in the near future. Let me make sure these are all spaced out properly. What I'm doing here is I'm just deleting any spaces and adding tabs. So I can see that I apparently have copied some stuff in here and they were done via space instead. There we go. That's nice and neat. Okay, so now over here we got Web01, and the keys I'm hitting here. To delete a line, I hit DD, and that deletes a line. To put a line, I press the letter P, and that puts the line back. Now, if I want to undo something I did, so I type insert, and I do that, I'm like, oops, I didn't mean to do that. You can press the letter U to undo. So remember, all of these are after I hit the escape key. If you don't hit the escape key, you're still typing in the screen, or you're running other commands. So now, on the system, we added TaskFreak. We put it to the right IP address. And over here, we're going to add CYB Web02 to 192.168.56.52. Now that right there is our system name, so we can access the system itself via that name. And we have TaskFreak, so we access TaskFreak correctly. All right, we're going to go ahead and save that. So write and quit. That's escape:WQ. Enter. Once we do that, let's go ahead and do our service restart. /service restart. It should say that all zones are loaded. It does, and we are good to go. So now if we dig taskfreak.lab.lan, it should give us the right address. And it does. Excellent. Let's go ahead and exit out of our DNS server. We don't need that anymore. But now we need to change our vhost file over on Web02. To confirm that everything's working, we can go to a web browser and just type in TaskFreak to be sure it takes us to the main page, which is not the TaskFreak page, but the main page of the web server. So if you want to see that, up here, we're going to type taskfreak.lab.lan. And when we do that, my system says, oh, we're having trouble finding that site because I'm not using that system as DNS. I'm actually using my own browser to get there. So if we open it up in one of our other systems, like our Windows box, then that should resolve without a problem. Now I can fix that by just changing my DNS really fast, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over here and type a sudo vi, actually we'll just do a sudo echo and sudo sh echo, and I'll type the 192.168, no, name server 192.168.56.11, and I'm going to put that over into etc resolve, or I probably should move that file all together. So let's move that file all together. So I'll move etc, nice, resolve.conf. You don't have to do this if you're using the Windows or the Mac or the other machine we create in the future, desktop 01, 02, or 03. So I'm going to move that over to temp, and then I'm going to echo that name server to that to etc resolve.conf. There we go. So now I've changed my name server. If I go back over and look at that in the upper right hand corner and hit refresh, then you notice that taskfreak.lab.lan loads without a problem. If I click into TaskFreak, of course, everything runs great. Super. All right. Now I want the taskfreak.lab.lan to actually open TaskFreak by default. In order to do that, we have to change our vhosts. If you remember from last time, there are really only 3 things that you have to do to make vhosts. There are only 3 input lines. It's really easy. However, it's easy to mess up at the same time. So let's go ahead and I'm going to exit out of there, and now I'm going to SSH over to 52. Oops, wrong user. Not root, student. Student at 52. All right, now that I'm in 52 here, I'm going to sudo-s cd to etc Apache 2 sites available is fine. Enter. Inside of sites available, we have 2 right there. We're going to go vi vhosts.conf. When we do that, we're going to do a virtual host *:80. Nice. And if you can hit the close angle bracket, then great. And then we need to type directory root /var HTML taskfreak. And we need to set up the name, server name. And that's going to be taskfreak. And we're also going to set up a server alias taskfreak there .lab.lan, and then we're going to close this virtual host like that. And let me look at that really fast and be sure I got it all right. So as I look through this, we got, oh, not directory root, document root. Thanks for showing me that, Apache. Okay. So, and you notice that was a different color too, so you should pick up on that. If it comes out and it's like a different color, like that green, then that means you did not get your statement correct. Okay, so it's document root, server name, and server alias. The server alias just allows you to get there by different names. The server name lets you get there by name, and it's virtual host. So let's go ahead and save that. All right, now I got that saved. We need to restart Apache because we did make a change. So let's do service Apache 2 restart. Now we don't need to restart MySQL, but if you want to, go ahead. Restart MySQL. Just like that. And if you ever want to know how long it takes to restart all your services, you can always put a time statement in front of that. So you can put a time in front of each of those to see how long it takes. That's important if you're running a data center to know how long it takes to restart the services. So let's go back over to TaskFreak now. So we got this taskfreak.lab.lan. I'm going to hit refresh and see if it comes up. And it doesn't. And that could be because I've already been there. Refresh. Let me go through and look at our vhost file. Our vhost file, we forgot to link it over. ln-s, this etc Apache 2 sites available, vhosts. You need to put that over in etc Apache 2 sites enabled. For those of you who caught that, Great, great job. Now on the restarting things, so let's go ahead and put a time on there. Time service Apache 2 restart. And I'll just do a time, each one separately, so we can see service MySQL restart. And you notice I do this two different ways. I do it the old Unix way, and I do it the newer Ubuntu way. So I've got two different methods that I'm using there. Some people might say, oh, it's a systemd way. Whatever, that's fine. And so as we run through there, we can see that that took 2 seconds to restart Apache, and it takes 2.9 seconds, about 3 seconds to restart MySQL. All right, now we restarted that. Let's go over to our browser and look at that. So let's refresh. Yes, and now you notice that taskfreak.lab.lan loads the right server. So excellent. We can also do cyb web02.lab.lan like that, and it will load our main page on that web server. That way we absolutely know everything is working. We did not change the document root to the very, everything over to TaskFreak. We only did TaskFreak. That's it. That's setting up our DNS, and hopefully that this has been pretty clear and pretty easy for you to do. After you do this, you are good to go. So that is that's all there is to do with this assignment. Hopefully the import of the other desktop machine goes really well.